sobered. Johnson Walker thought he had pulled off the perfect crime. Charming, confident, and seemingly untouchable, he believed no one would ever uncover the truth. For a time, he was right. It began one summer morning in 1996, off the coast of Devon. Two fishermen hauled in their nets, and with the fish came a body. At first, police assumed a tragic accident. The man was well-dressed, still wearing a Rolex wristwatch, but had no ID. His pockets had been turned out, and a deep head wound raised questions. The watch became the key. Rolex traced its serial number to a man named Ronald Joseph Platt, from Yorkshire. Without that one clue, his identity may never have been known. Detectives soon contacted Platt's landlord, who referred them to a personal reference, a man named David Davis. Davis was calm, polished, and unusually composed when told of his friend's death. He even provided photographs of Platt. Police initially accepted his account that Platt had moved abroad. Case closed, it seemed, but fate intervened. In Essex, Detective Seacon Davis accidentally knocked on the wrong door. Neighbors insisted that the man living there wasn't Davis at all, but Ronald Platt himself, the dead man. Suddenly, investigators realized their polite witness was living under his friend's stolen identity. That mistake triggered an international hunt. Who was this man calling himself Davis? And what had happened to the real Ronald Platt? As police dug deeper, they uncovered a twisted story. Years earlier, Davis, whose real name was Albert Johnson Walker, had fled Canada with millions stolen from clients of his investment company, He was also on Interpol's most wanted list. Walker had arrived in England with his teenage daughter, posing as his wife, and carefully constructed a new life. In the town of Harrogate, he charmed his way into the lives of Ronald Platt and his girlfriend Elaine. He offered them jobs, drew them into his company, and convinced them to emigrate to Canada. When Elaine returned to the UK, Platt eventually drifted home too. That return proved fatal. Walker had built his entire existence on using Ronald Platt's name and documents. Now the real man was back in Britain, threatening to expose him. In July 1996, Walker invited Platt out on his yacht, the Lady Jane. Evidence later showed Platt was struck on the head, weighed down with an anchor tied to his belt, and dumped into the sea. Forensic science tied everything together. The anchor recovered by fishermen matched injuries on Platt's body. Traces of his blood and fingerprints were found aboard the yacht. And in Walker's home, detectives discovered gold bars, bundles of cash, and documents under multiple false identities. The polished, charming David Davis was finally unmasked. A Canadian conman, fraudster, and now, murderer. In 1998, Albert Johnson Walker was convicted of Ronald Platt's murder. He was sentenced to life in prison in the UK, before later being returned to Canada to face his financial crimes. Walker had believed he could escape justice by reinventing himself. But, in the end, a Rolex watch, and one detective knocking on the wrong door, brought down a man who thought he decommitted the perfect murder.